All right, YouTube and Auburn fans, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. This is the day after reaction to some of the play in the SEC. And, man, we got a bombshell on this one. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. So we saw a situation where the COVID-19 had a lot of teams out of action. You talk about a really iconic game in the SEC. LSU versus Alabama did not take place this weekend because there were too many COVID-19 cases, I think, on the LSU side. So that game wasn't going to take place. And then you got some others. Auburn versus Mississippi State was canceled as well, or postponed until December the 12th because of COVID-19. Very interesting week in the SEC. So now to start this thing off, one of the things that we found out when we talk about the day after, one of the things we found out, maybe, just maybe, in the SEC East, Florida is actually a legitimate team at this point. We thought Dan Mullen coming over as a head coach to the Florida Gators, he was actually the former Mississippi State coach, kind of took them to some different levels. Took them, as a matter of fact, back in 2014, there was a situation where Auburn was ranked high, Mississippi State was ranked high, both two top 5 football teams playing in that game. Mississippi State actually won with Dak Prescott, who is the injured quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys now. Now he takes his show to Florida, and he has those guys playing at an epic level. As a matter of fact, blowing out Georgia for the most part after being down 14-0. We kind of thought that game was over, but they stormed back even without their star tight end Pitts, who was hurt in the first half with a concussion and probably will miss a good portion of the rest of the season with that particular injury. But we found out that Florida is actually a legitimate contender and probably is on, not necessarily on the same level as Georgia, but because of the win over Georgia and because of the situation with Georgia's quarterback, they can't get it together. They got Bennett, basically a walk-on, and then the quarterback from Michigan. I can't think of his name to save my life. I really honestly don't care. But either way, Georgia has their struggles, and what they're finding out is even with all of the 5-star recruits, you got to have a good quarterback, and you have to have some reliable skill position players. Because George Pickens, again, who is out because of disciplinary problems, he's been a disciplinary problem since he's been at Georgia. So Georgia, I don't think, is in deep trouble, but they're in enough trouble to where the idea of them winning a national championship under Kirby Smart, I mean, is becoming more and more unlikely. But the biggest bombshell of this week, out of all the teams that didn't play, out of all the situations, especially Florida emerging as a power in the South, in the SEC East, and probably is the only team in the SEC conference that will be able to challenge, at least on paper, legitimately challenge Alabama. Man, you got to look to South Carolina and Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp has actually been fired as the coach of South Carolina, which is, kind of surprising to a certain degree because we thought the COVID-19 situation would actually keep, coaches safe. But then when you look at the blowout loss to Ole Miss, you talk about a coach that is usually predicated upon his ability to play defense. He didn't get it done at Florida, clearly wasn't getting it done at South Carolina. Now he finds himself on the unemployment trail. The bad part about this, South Carolina must have really felt strongly about this because he had a hell of a buyout. 75% of his $4.5 million per year salary is going to have to be paid out. Now, I feel like the biggest loser in this particular situation is Travaris Robinson. Now, many of us know Travaris Robinson as the former safety at Auburn, who's basically followed Will Muschamp everywhere he's gone. If Will Muschamp doesn't emerge somewhere else, where does that leave Travaris Robinson, one of the hottest defensive coordinators in college football? Big bombshell, Will Muschamp after unsuccessfully head coaching in the SEC, is now looking for a job. This is, I mean, like I said, this has come at a huge surprise. Moving forward, we just got to know what's going to happen with coaches. I'm looking at Harbaugh out of Michigan to possibly be the next coach to be let go, because he got his ass shellacked this weekend by Wisconsin this past weekend, 49-7 or 11 or whatever the score was. He got blown out by Wisconsin this weekend. Jim Harbaugh has been always talking about, talking trash about how great of a program he has, how things are moving in the right direction for Michigan, but definitely not moving in the right direction for Michigan when you lose to Michigan State and then you turn around and lose to Wisconsin. Auburn takes on Tennessee this particular week. This is going to be a huge game for Auburn. We're going to have some commentary on that, our initial reaction to, our initial take on this particular game. All right, guys, go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. We are growing by leaps and bounds. 3,050 subscribers. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.